5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. All engine running. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Welcome to Sacrilicious with Robin and Snurts, a Simpsons review podcast. I'm your lovable nerd Snurts, aka Joshua Stearns, and joining me is the equally delightful Robin. Don't have a cow, coward.
Hey yo, what is happening, Josh? I am so excited for today's episode, I have to tell you.
I am too, because joining us as the first guest on this fine podcast is a legendary individual. He's the voice of the best damn Green Lantern in town, Jon Stewart, in the acclaimed Mortalverse audio drama series. He's Judge of the Year on the Who Would Win show, host of just about every podcast on the Play Some Video Games Network, not to mention his own podcast, the Delvin Cox Experience. It is the podfather himself, Delvin Cox. Delvin, welcome to Sacrilicious, and thank you for being our first guest.
It's an honor and a pleasure to be your first guest on this podcast. I'm excited. This is going to be a great one to kind of touch on.
Yeah, so have you been a fan of The Simpsons since your youth, or do you just have like a few episodes that you like here and there? Like, what's your relationship to this show?
Oh, I was a huge Simpsons fan as a youth. I was like, I used to watch all the episodes. I want to say I watched it up to maybe like the 12th season.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah, that's pretty good, man. Yeah.
Yeah, I got mostly through The Simpsons, and I think it's just one of those things where I just didn't have time to watch it because I think it did like the Sunday thing. Like I'm busy Sunday, or I was probably working or something like that. So I just fell out of it. Not because I didn't want to watch it, it was like just life.
Yeah,
It's
no,
like
it happens.
you catch some episodes after that. That's kind of my experience too. Is later I caught some episodes through maybe the 20th season, and then after that it was really rare to see it on syndication or anywhere else. So
Yeah, I think what I felt myself doing was always catching the Halloween episodes.
Yeah, those are very
The Treehouse of Horror.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So for me, I think one of the reasons I'm a huge fan, and I've seen every episode except for season 35. And a big part of that was because of the DVD box sets. Once the DVD box sets started coming out, I was in college and I ended up collecting them all. And I would always do at least one watch through of the season, even if it's a season that has like less gems than the classic, 6 through 8, which is my personal favorite. And then when they came on Disney Plus, I decided to just go front to back. And it took a long time. And did I fall asleep during some of those episodes? Maybe because it was late at night. And did I rewatch them in the morning? No. So some of them I still have some memories of. But I was dependent on just watching them on Fox every Sunday, I think I would have fallen off like you guys did a long time ago.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, if this is your first time listening to Sacrilicious, here's how it works. One of us will pick an episode of The Simpsons to discuss. We go through the plot, provide questionable impressions, and point out our favorite bits. This week, Delvin picked from Season 3, Episode 1, Stark Raving Dad, directed by Richard Moore and written by Al Jean and Mike Reiss, with the first air date of 9/19/1991. And this is a very special episode. Season 3, Episode 1.
It's a very special episode.
Yes. Today on NPR, a special episode of The Simpsons. Because it had the biggest celebrity guest star that they had to date. And they marketed the hell out of this. Like I do have like vague memories of like, oh, we got Michael Jackson coming, and they were trying to be coy about it. It was kind of like Michael Jackson will be the guest. Wink, wink. No,
it's
he won't.
de facto that he would be in the biggest because there's nobody bigger. So whenever he came on the show, he would have been the biggest guest star to ever be on the show.
Maybe the biggest of all time, honestly.
Agreed.
Yeah, it was huge. Previously, they had guests like Dustin Hoffman, or I believe Danny DeVito did Homer's brother. But Michael Jackson is the king of pop.
And we talked briefly, Josh, about the actors having to kind of hide because the show is so popular, and this is at that time when the show is so big, and you combine the two, it would have been a nuclear bomb going off of media. And so I think that's why, and plus MJ didn't want to be noticed, so or known to have done it, so they hit it. It's interesting.
Yeah, everybody knows the story behind that?
Yep. I do, but
Mm-hmm.
go ahead. Go tell us the story.
because of contractual reasons, he could not be known that he did the episode. And also,
Mm.
the Lisa It's Your Birthday song, he didn't sing
Mm-hmm.
Correct.
because of his record contract. He was not allowed to sing the song. He wrote the song, but could not sing it, and they had to get a Michael Jackson impersonator to sing that song.
And that
So
guy was
the
named Kip Lennon, who is the
Yes,
mm-hmm.
impersonator. And then for his credited name is John J. Smith.
Mm-hmm.
So
That's what I
yeah,
knew him as. Yeah.
yeah, and it's interesting listening to the DVD commentary because they do go into this because everybody was really excited about this episode, and the DVD commentary was recorded prior to the Leaving Neverland documentary that came out, and they
Well
were
yes,
talking
before.
about
It's
how
before his death.
Matt Groening was working late at night. And the phone rings, and it's Michael Jackson, and he did not believe that it was Michael Jackson because he thought it was one of his colleagues doing a joke on him. So after he finally accepted that the King of Pop was calling his little cartoon studio right in the evening, Michael was really wanting to participate this. He was very present and contributive to the plot and to the script and to his dialogue,
Do you
and
think Matt
also
Groening? Do you think that he reacted like Bart? He's like, prove it. Prove you're Michael Jackson.
pretty much I think that is how it was. I mean, they have very talented voice actors, so he's probably thinking like, is this Hank, is this Dan, like when are you guys
He
pulling
made
a
him give
fast
a
one on me?
hee hee.
Yeah.
you
uh,
know,
and as Delvin mentioned, he wrote not only the Happy Birthday Lisa song, but he contributed to the Do the Bartman video and song that was on the Simpsons Sing the Blues album.
correct.
Yeah.
And
So,
it's kind of interesting because Michael Jackson used to always do stuff like this randomly. Like
yeah.
I think it's Sonic 3. I think it's Sonic 2 or Sonic 3. He wrote the music for and proposed all
Oh,
the music for the
really?
Sega Genesis game. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Captain EO at
Yeah,
Because
Captain
Disneyland.
EO.
Disney
because
World.
Chemical Zone in Sonic 2 is a banger, and that would make sense if he contributed something to that.
Yeah, I think it's Sonic 3 if I remember correctly.
It's
He
three.
did a lot of
Okay.
stuff like this that people don't know that he did. Like, he I think one of the more famous ones was the Rockwell song, Somebody Watching Me. That's Michael Jackson on the song.
Oh,
For a
really?
long time he wasn't
Somebody
credited for it.
watching
He
me.
wrote that for
Interesting.
Rockwell. Just gave him a
Cool.
hit. Because that's Quincy Jones' nephew, for people who didn't know.
I also remember, like in
It's
his
his
music
sister's kid.
videos, having all sorts of cameos, like in black and white. Wasn't there it was Macaulay Culkin and Jordan, if I'm not mistaken?
Correct.
Yeah, yeah. So he's a
Oh, he was
legend.
the king.
He was everywhere in entertainment, and so you have this combination of one of the hottest cartoons in town. Like, because the early '90s were at the height of Bart mania. And you mix that with the King of Pop, and I don't know, it's kind of like peanut butter and chocolate. It just goes
All
really
right,
good
so real
together.
quick, let me ask, and this is very important. What is y'all's favorite MJ song? I'm gonna start with you, Josh.
Yeah, we had this question when Delvin and I were on the PlayStation Experience, and I have very basic answers. I love Smooth Criminal, Billie Jean,
Great one.
Man in the Mirror. Those are I'll go just with those top
Have
three
you
to keep it
seen
short.
my childhood? Sorry, Delvin.
I have a lot of Michael Jackson songs that are like my favorite. It's hard. I'm a huge Michael Jackson fan, so it's hard for me to pick.
Mm-hmm.
But Another Part of Me is one of my favorite songs. And
Okay.
that's from the Captain EO ride, of course.
Mm-hmm.
Human
I'm so
Nature.
glad you said that, because that is such a deep cut in a lot of ways. I mean, I know a lot of people went down, but Captain EO was a total side project for
Yeah,
Disney,
it
and
was
it was
awesome.
amazing. 3D immersive. Oh man, come on!
Also, wasn't Lucas involved in that, or his studio?
I believe
Yes,
so.
they made the creatures in the movie.
Industrial Satellite.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, crazy.
Yeah. There's so many, like Human Nature. I like Billie
Mm.
Jean a lot. I Can't Stop Loving You. I love Michael Jackson. I'm a huge
Or
fan.
even
I have
oh man, Dirty Diana's coming to my mind right now as I
yeah.
think about the catalog.
So and Dylan, I always talk about this. Is I really have favorites. I have like an echelon, and like once you're up in
Yes.
the echelon, you're among the favorites. But
I agree.
in this case, I actually have a clear favorite Michael Jackson song, and it's "Wanna Be Starting Something."
That's a good one. That's a great one.
Oh, nice.
It's just the energy that it gives me. It's unparalleled in music.
Let,
Nice.
let me ask you a question, Snips, because I saw this and I know it was true or not, but it sounds like it might have been true. There was this thing I was reading when I was studying about this episode that they were planning to do a Stark Raving Dad Part 2
Oh,
Really?
with Prince.
oh, no way!
Oh.
Wow.
No,
Yes.
but I think I heard a different story. Is that they had Prince in the script and they changed it to Elvis
Well, that was just for one joke.
as a
So
reference.
there is a joke in the line where, and we'll get into it later, but Elvis is mentioned, and originally the writers had put Prince in for that line, and Michael asked for it to be swapped to Elvis.
Now, have y'all seen like the reel or TikTok about the who's doing Family Feud right now? Delvin, I
That-
am massively ADD, so
That is
Well,
from what is his name? Shoot, I
what the
can't
hell?
remember.
See, if 3 ADD people and a question.
Yes.
I have no idea what
He's
you're
the most
referencing, so I don't know.
famous
Yeah.
person
Steve
of all
Harvey.
time. Steve Harvey tells this story about he was gonna take him to this Prince show, and Mike was like, "I don't want to go. He's a meanie." Have y'all heard that story?
That
No.
had happened because
Oh, really?
allegedly
Okay.
Prince tried to hit Michael Jackson with a car.
Yeah, and his
Oh,
mom.
fuck.
Yeah, because they hate each other.
Wow. Okay.
Well, it's maybe one-sided because
Right.
there's video of this. They had like I think it was a James Brown tribute, and it was Michael Jackson in there. I think they called Prince on stage,
Yeah,
and
that's
essentially
right.
Michael Jackson embarrassed Prince at the tribute because they're both like huge James Brown fans.
Mm-hmm.
And what happened was after the thing, when Michael was leaving, Prince kind of tried to hit him with his car, and Quincy
Damn.
Jones verified the story. It was a real thing.
Wow. That's some shit right there.
Yeah. We think they're all, quiet, artists. Like
Oh, no,
everybody
they're
gets
people.
along. No, this
Yeah.
is cutthroat.
Yeah.
Okay, I looked it
Uh,
up on Wikipedia to give you guys what the whole thing was. The unproduced sequel. A year after Stark Raving Dad aired, the writers planned a sequel, which I forget how you say it. Kapowski
Yeah.
would
Uh-huh.
return.
Yeah,
Kapowski.
Leon Kapowski.
Yeah, claiming to be the pop star Prince.
Oh shit.
The script was written by freelancers and polished by Conan O'Brien. According to the writers, they said they saw Kapowski encourage Springfield residents to loosen up and become more flamboyant and more sexually open. Now here's the catch.
Wow, that would have been awesome.
Here's the catch. Prince agreed to voice Kapowski and sent notes about what his character would wear. But the writers discovered that Prince was referring to a script that had been written by his chauffeur. Prince disliked their script and demanded the other one be used, but the writers refused.
Oh,
And
yeah,
the
that's
script
not gonna
became one of the
fly.
few
Yeah.
unproduced Simpson scripts.
It's written by his chauffeur.
Yeah, I'm sorry. These writers have pride in their
Those
work.
writers at that
Yes.
point, they were huge. They've been
Yeah.
like, no.
And here you go. Here's proof of it.
It's amazing.
Following Prince's death in 2016, showrunner Al Jean produced 2 screenshots of scenes from the script.
Oh, sure. Yeah, Al has notes.
Wow.
That's amazing. I could see that too, where we could have had Smithers dressed up in like a Prince outfit, and that would have been amazing. Well, there's also controversy as well, because after the documentary in March of 2019 came out, Leaving Neverland, that had allegations about Jackson's misbehavior and relationships with a couple of people, the decision was made by James L. Brooks, Dan Reed, the director of the documentary, and Al Jean to ban Stark Raving Dad from future rebroadcasting and streaming services worldwide. You can only find this episode on Google Play, YouTube, and if you have the 3rd season DVD collection that was printed prior to 2019. Brooks is quoted that he's not in favor of book burning, but, quote, "This is our book and we're allowed to take out a chapter." So Delvin, I'm going to seeing how you picked this episode, I'm going to let you have first crack at your thoughts on this move by The Simpsons to remove it. And then I will go into my own opinion and Robin as well.
I feel like it's a slippery slope.
Mm.
I don't think it was a wise decision to do it. I understand why they did it. But then when you kind of look in the grand scheme of things of people who've been on like The Simpsons and on Disney Plus properties and things like that, how far do we go? Why just Michael Jackson? Why not the other people?
Yeah,
of course,
100%.
the
Mhm.
Weinstein Corporation. That's a
The ones
whole
that got away with it, you know.
yeah, and the fact that what I think it's called Leaving Neverland. I don't want to discount the victims' stories at all, but this stuff wasn't corroborated. This is a documentary that essentially anybody could do that just had high production values. And none of this stuff was proven in a court of law. So it's like, if we're doing that based off of documentaries and stuff like that, that's a little bit of a stretch. Now, if he was legally charged for something, and so be it. I can understand it. If he's convicted of things like that, I can understand it.
Well, and let me piggyback on that thought is that there's a lot of accusations out there, and that is something to keep in mind. But a documentary still is essentially meant to be entertainment. That's why
Yes,
documentaries are put out, and uh, that doesn't mean it's not true. It's
correct.
just we don't actually know, and we're assuming one over the other when we don't know, and that just makes it more challenging to be definitive, in my opinion.
Yes, and then you add to the fact that the documentary itself was questioned for the validity of the things that happened in it. So it's like, oh, it's a little sketchy. I don't know if I want to base all
Right.
my claims off of that now. If they have to, not to say they need to have definitive evidence, but it's just all a slippery, messy slope. And like I watched it, and it's a lot of troubling things, but it almost feels a little bit more like hearsay than fact. Is one person's side of the story, which may not be true, and then you add in it's so much stuff out in that documentary that's just weird.
Yeah, and to echo, if there are victims out there and they feel the way they do, I don't want to discount those feelings or
Correct.
whatever occurred to him
Mm-mm.
or them. But at the same time, Michael Jackson was just a magnet for like bullshit controversy all the time, like throughout his entire career, like even from a little kid. And the FBI, Child Protective Services, did go to his Neverland Ranch, and they did not find anything. That doesn't mean there wasn't something
Yeah.
there, but
And
they didn't find anything. Uh,
he was under investigation for years. They said that he didn't know.
Oh
right.
yeah.
Years by the
Yeah.
FBI.
Yes. So I also think it's in general, I do not like the censorship of history. Like, I am a history major. This is one of my passions in life. And I find that there's this weird new kind of like whitewashing going on where we pretend that there wasn't, controversial content or, maybe racist or sexist content from back in the day. And we're just going to put close our eyes, cover our ears, and pretend it never even happened. And I
Yeah,
think that is a mistake. If you want to
I
do
I
something,
100% agree with you.
if you want to
Um,
put a disclaimer at the top of the
which I agree
episode,
with
at the
too.
back of the
I-
episode, both, that's
If
totally
if it's
fine.
not there, we can't talk about it. And how we deal with problems as a societies, we've got to talk about them.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think it's just a way, honestly, for kind of like white people to feel better about themselves.
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah. Just
I feel
uh,
like, if we were in a sensible country, like, I don't know, like Australia, they'd have been like, this episode features somebody who's been accused of terrible things. And while we don't endorse those things, we think it's important that we preserve the account of history.
yeah, I agree. And, they have Mel Gibson as a guest star. They have Elon Musk as a guest star. And to
yeah.
Delvin's slippery slope point, are those going to be removed next? Are we going to start getting rid of stuff that that's about the LGBTQ community because
They
it didn't
foretold
like
Trump's presidency. Like,
yeah
if we went back and deleted that, would it have happened?
Well, let's 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 get a little bit more even deeper to it. Apu, the character himself. Are you
Yes,
just gonna
yes
just
precisely.
yeah
Because one episode is one thing, but 70% of the episodes is another.
yeah? Like, are you just gonna like? Well, you can't watch any of these episodes anymore because it wasn't played by a natural Indian person.
yeah
I'm like, ooh,
yeah or they do
I,
something weird where they just change his voice on all of it.
yeah,
Or they make the character white for some reason. I don't know, like very yeah they did not handle they did not they being Fox and the Simpsons, the higher ups did not handle the Apu controversy well, and I do not
At
think they handled
all.
the Michael Jackson controversy well. So, again, to me,
Yeah.
this is just kind of sweep it under the rug. And I don't like that whatsoever. And I am glad that we can still get this episode out. And I even read that they had stuff when they do the every Simpsons episode ever on FXX, they still include this episode.
That's good.
So
Interesting.
I am hopeful that with enough time, people can kind of like get over whatever feelings they were having about that documentary Leaving Neverland and let this episode stand. And as I said
As it
before, if
was
needed,
in
make a statement at
context.
the beginning or the end.
Yeah,
Yes.
agreed.
Yeah. All right.
I
Well,
think
is there anything else you guys
so
want to?
important.
I'm sorry. What was that, Robin?
I think context is so important. Is this episode brought us joy when it was first run, and that's not going to go away, regardless of the other things that we now think of and know. It still exists.
Yeah.
I think it's just disappointing that this episode is gonna be marred with this whole controversy, quote unquote.
Because it's amazing.
It's a great episode. Yeah, that's my point. It's such a great episode and such
Yep,
an episode that just makes The Simpsons The Simpsons.
exactly.
It's heartwarming. It's touching. It's funny. It's so much stuff that happens to it. It's a kind of like a look at how we look at fandom and celebrityism. It's a look on mental health. It's so many like interesting things about this episode that a lot of people just won't even know existed. It's kind of, and that's the thing that kind of bothers me about it, the whole Disney Plus thing is that they take it off. So if you're a young kid and you're going back to watching the Simpsons catalog, it's like it never even existed.
Yeah.
Like wow,
It's complete censorship.
they changed it. They changed the episode numbers and everything. Like wow, that's kind of crazy.
Wow, they
Mhm.
changed the episode numbers too, so
Yeah,
they
I
don't.
think
Oh
Lisa
wow.
Goes to Washington is now the new
The one number
episode.
one, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, not in my world. Yeah, no, and there are so many classic bits. It is. I mean, I think this cliche fits a little too closely. They literally threw the baby out with the bathwater.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's dive into this episode so we can highlight those classic bits and encourage people to actually watch this wonderful, wonderful episode. DVD commentary is loaded this time. We have Julie Kavner, Dan Castellaneta, Matt Groening, Rich Moore, David Silverman, Al Jean, and Jim Brooks. So just packed full of excellent people for the commentary, which is pretty rare. And also to me shows how much they loved Michael Jackson.
Yes.
And we open with Lisa trying to wake Bart. It's about 6 a.m, and I love how she's, Bart, but then starts to hold his nose, and he's like, wah, 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 wah. And Bart goes, Lisa, it's 6 a.m. Something's wrong. Dad died. Lisa goes, no, he's fine. And I love this line from Bart. What do you know? I'm relieved.
I'm relieved.
And we have Lisa's 8th birthday coming up, and she's pleading with her brother to get a gift. Lisa, this is a very excellent Lisa episode. We haven't had too many of those on our podcast here yet, but Lisa is firing on all cylinders for this one. What do you guys think about that?
I agree.
The zeitgeist she feels, the deep emotions at 8 years old that she feels. Wonderful.
I love the whole idea of her just kind of saying, hey, you have kind of ignored my birthday for the last 7 years, and I kind of want you to show that you care about me. That's what this episode's really about. Like
I
Bart
need this
showing,
from you.
yeah, I need this from you to show that you really appreciate me as your sister and you love me. Because as of now, you really haven't shown that. And I think it's kind of like this episode shows a different side of Bart because Bart has to show compassion.
It is deep immediately this episode because when Bart says, wow, I'm relieved, it's a genuine moment where he's like, oh man, I do love Dad. And it's the same thing with Lisa, who's reaching out and is in pain.
It's kind of funny because I guess you never think about it, but when you watch the earlier scene, like Bart's kind of a piece of crap. It's and not only just like to like Homer, but like to his whole family. So the ideal Lisa
to the
coming up to
whole
him, like,
world, honestly.
and the ideal of Lisa coming up like, look, I know you do this thing where you're kind of like a piece of crap to everybody else, but for my birthday, can you be nice to me and do something nice for me for my birthday? Be thoughtful. I think it's really touching.
And those are some of the episodes that I love is when Bart actually tries to do that. He's so good at it.
Yes, and I just real when I watch an episode again because this was a hard episode to find to watch, and I wasn't giving to Google $3.
They
But
don't need it.
yeah, but what I think is so interesting about this episode, it shows that I don't think Bart is heartless. I think he's more careless and naive in the things he does.
Yeah.
Right.
Like
He's
even the
very
whole
much
thing,
like Homer. He
he's
and
selfish.
Homer are twins.
Yes, he's very selfish. Even the whole thing of him leaving the hat in the wash.
Yeah.
Right.
He didn't think about that like he didn't do it maliciously. He did it because he's just like, I want my hat washed.
That starts our whole journey is his mischievousness.
Yeah, he's
Yeah,
just based off of impulses and raw emotion and doesn't really think about the feelings of others. And Lisa is no slouch when it comes to pranks and being a little miscreant herself, but she is definitely the emotional heart of the series. So
Mhm.
she's often trying to get the family, you know, along with Marge sometimes, like, we're a family, we should act like it. Yeah. So Bart making the jokes about being old, did you guys relate to that? I mean, I know we're all north of 40 and probably feeling life a little bit more than we used to in our younger days. I love his little
Yes,
jokes
he's
of just
right.
like, oh, you
He's
know, the
old at the
big
ripe
1
old
0,
age of the
the,
big
the
1
knees are
10
starting to
years
creak.
old.
Yeah.
I mean, that's how you always feel growing up, right? Like,
Yeah.
oh, when I'm 8, you know, I'm no longer a 5-year-old, and when I'm 10, I'm no longer the 8-year-old. And certainly when I'm 15, I'm no longer the 11-year-old, and all those things.
You know, the line of like candy doesn't taste as sweet anymore was like just like kind of funny.
Yes.
And then we get down to the kitchen and Marge is just asking Bart to watch Maggie. And of course he doesn't because he sees that there's a crusty hotline that he just has to call.
Listeners, this is unique to before many of you were born, because when we had landline telephones, you could call up an 800 number. What was the ones? It wasn't 800 numbers. It was like
1-900 crusty or
one
whatever.
900
Yes.
numbers.
Yeah.
$2 for the first minute, $50 for each additional minute.
Did you guys ever contribute or get hooked on a hotline back in the day?
I think I called a porn line one time, and it did not go well.
I
Probably
think I
when I
called
was
him
15.
like a video game hotline for something like that.
Oh, for like a
it's-
cheat or a tip?
Yeah, like you talk to Mario or some dumb stuff like that. Like, you know,
It's a me
Yeah.
for $5.99 a minute.
it was something ridiculous like that. Like, all right, let me
Yeah.
talk to Mario.
Yeah, I think I did the same thing, Robin, where I called the number and then heard the woman's voice or the automated voice answer, and I was just like, hung up.
Oh, God.
Yeah, that's usually how that happens.
Yeah, and I definitely was talked to by mom and dad, like when they had like those kind of hotlines out, like, you are never calling these numbers.
So
you
you
will
called
not
a lot.
waste our money. You know. Anyway, so Maggie climbs the ceiling fan and starts to spin around, and Marge is obviously upset that Bart wasn't, you know,
Paying
doing what
attention to his other sister.
an older brother should. And his excuse was, she overpowered me.
I like the fact that Maggie pretty much said bullshit and spit her pants.
Yeah, oh yeah. Yeah.
With a look, your expressions are unbelievable.
Yeah, very much so. And then Homer is running into the kitchen panic because he's missing a T-shirt, and of course Marge, you know, she's
A
a
work
great
shirt.
like stay-at-home mom and had the laundry ready to go. But of course, Bart threw in his red hat. Now, I didn't know this was a thing as a kid, and my mom during the summer, she was kind of a little crazy in this regard. Love you, Ma, but you're a little crazy. 4 a.m. she would go to the laundromat because she didn't like crowds, and so during the summer she would make my siblings and I go with her. And I remember once
Lord.
that I accidentally didn't separate the whites from the colors, and I just threw everything into one washer, and everything came out pink. And she was just not she was not happy whatsoever. So have you guys ever made that mistake where you're not separating your whites like you should, and you got a red shirt or another red item in there, and it just screws everything up and makes everything fabulously pink?
Of course, yeah, we've done that before plenty of times.
It's a terrible
Screw up
day.
your clothes.
Yep.
Good
Yeah.
thing they have color
it's like
state bleach now.
It's like when you
Yes.
dry the wrong shirt.
Right. Right.
It's just like it's done. Like it might have been your favorite shirt. It's done. You will never have your shirt again.
Yep. And I also like how this is the worst thing that could ever happen to a man in 1991, wearing a pink shirt to work. this felt so dated. And I know it's 1991, and back then this was probably a bigger deal. And I know Robin and I have talked before, but like our fathers would wear suits when they were going into work. And I
Every
almost
day.
guarantee you my father didn't have a pink shirt until like the late 90s, maybe early 2000s.
Yeah, my dad wouldn't wear the suit. I mean, he may, have worn a pink shirt, but it was always a coal suit with a white shirt every day.
Yeah. How
Didn't
about
they used to do the thing where they used to call like pink some other color like coral or some shit like that?
Mm.
Oh, they made
Well,
just they just a
when
different shade of pink so you feel okay about wearing it. Is that what
Yeah.
they're going for?
yeah,
Okay.
Yes.
when like Miami Vice comes out, that cool '80s like yuppie look, where you go out and you wear the white suit with the pink shirt, like that
Yeah.
was you could do that at like a club in Miami, but not at work.
No. Not if you're going to Raytheon or Boeing or whatever. So let's see. Also, I love how Homer, he's so upset by the pink shirt because he doesn't want to go and work. And he has this great line where he goes, "I am not popular enough to be different." And I could relate to that so much. Where like I'm here and I'm like, okay, well, I kind of conform, like I'm in high school or whatever, and like I don't want to like stand out. I just want to be left alone. So like I don't have anything crazy flamboyant on or something of that nature.
Look, if you're gonna stand out, you gotta own it, right?
Right. Yeah. But
I
I
do
do.
love that part. What it's like? Oh, look, my red hat, clean as a whistle.
Yeah, he's he's high energy this episode for sure with that little
100.
Bart Simpson. And then we get a classic strangling bit, and this is another thing that has gone by the wayside in The Simpsons. They don't do the strangling anymore,
No,
which I'm okay with. That joke has been running for what 3 decades now. If
it's
they need to
how
change it up,
Marge
fine.
disregards it for me.
Well, I always love the animation because you get the big old teeth and the and the tongue coming out and all that other kind of stuff. And then we cut to the plant and we see a sea of workers wearing white, and Homer is the one
Only
pink shirt
Homer.
that stands out. And the DVD commentary, David Silverman was talking about how they hadn't really gotten their techniques down for drawing large crowds. So this particular shot, imagine this is hand drawn, everybody. So this took a lot of time for the
It was a
animators
pain
to
in
get
the
everybody
ass.
going. And we see Mr. Burns in his office watching the camera feeds, and he goes, "Judging by his outlandish attire, he's some kind of free-thinking anarchist. I'll call security, sir." Excellent. These color monitors have already paid for themselves. And I love how he just got brand new color monitors, because if you think about it, in 91, I would think most security
Oh, yeah.
feeds were still in black and white unless you're really going to be spending some extra moolah.
Yeah, that would have been expensive.
Yeah.
And everybody's sniggering at him at work, and
Yep.
like everybody's like, pss, 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 oh, look, there he is.
Yeah, Lenny and Carl saves him a pink frosted donut, and then Homer is so
Everybody
torn because he
laughs.
gets that he's insulted, but he also likes the donut.
He's like, well, just because I'm wearing a pink shirt doesn't mean I'm some kind of pink donut eater.
Yeah. And let's be real here. The real fashion crime is the ugly green and red striped tie that Homer is wearing with a pink shirt. It looks like he like took
It's a
apart a
faux
Freddy
pas.
Krueger's like sweater and then made a tie out of it and then just picked the terriblest base color to go with. I'm just like, ugh,
It
that
clashes.
is not
Definitely
that
clashes.
is not for me. And of
Yeah.
course, the security guards take Homer, and and Dr. Marvin Monroe is there to give him a take-home insanity test. So
Burns is accusing him of being like this insane pinko. And he's like, Smithers, didn't you once have a penchant for bell bottoms?
That was funny.
He's
But
like,
then
I
he
was in
mentions-
the company's production of the HMS Pinafore.
there you go. So we get some more Gilbert and Sullivan on our pod, huh, Robin?
Exactly.
Yeah.
The greatest.
Also,
the
so like,
goats.
would you guys have accepted if you were at your job and they're like, okay, you got to take home this insanity test and bring it back in the morning? Like, how
Yeah.
weird would that be?
That doesn't make any sense.
They do that. Have you ever taken the personality work test at work?
No,
No.
never.
Oh
Absolutely
yeah,
not.
I mean they have it where it's like, are you more likely to do this or this? And it's like 50 questions, and you get like a lettering system, like you're introverted, extrovert, this thing, that thing, and the other. I mean, it's the same thing. Man.
That sounds like some commie
Goodness.
scare McCarthyism shit. I don't know.
Mhm.
Like that's how you find out like who you're gonna take to the gulag later. Like I don't like that. Yeah, so we get back at home, another very 80s, like, even though it's the 90s for this, it's still very 80s. Marge is applying bottle after bottle of
Can, Josh,
hairspray. Or
cans.
sorry,
3 cans.
can after can of hairspray. And I feel like that's just another thing that we don't see these days. Like, Delvin, did you have a lot of hairspray back in your 80s and 90s?
Yeah, we had a lot of hairspray. We had like oil sheen. That was a big thing because you wanted your
Oh,
hair
okay.
to shine and look slick back and not get so dried out. So yeah,
Yeah, she
I think
had
we
like
still
those
have that.
Aquanet bottles, you know, with the she was using like two cans per hairdo.
Yeah, I mean, I remember I'm using hairspray every once in a while when I was doing like Halloween outfits because you want the hair to stick in a certain way. I also recall my godmother when she was doing the 80s and early 90s very big poofy hair that was popular at the time. She was going through many cans of the hairspray. So once again, this episode is a product of its time, and I just have like all these reminders of things that are so gone, and I do wonder if like kids are watching it and that just kind of goes way over their head.
Well, Chas, the whole point is he's trying to get other people to take this test for him,
Correct.
because when they give it to him, he's like, "You can fill it out at home." Homer's like, write out your name. Aww.
Yeah, so Marge says no. Lisa says sure, but I want you to listen to a poem. And I'm gonna, if you
Homer's
bear
like,
with me
"Don't.
here,
Fine."
this is gonna be a classic bit. The Meditations on Turning 8 by Lisa Simpson. I had a cat named Snowball. She died. She died. Mom said she was sleeping. She lied. She lied. Why, oh, why is my cat dead? Couldn't that Chrysler hit me instead? I had a hamster named Stuffy. He died.
Homer
He
cuts it.
died.
He's like, "No deal."
And this is one of those things that is a very popular bit. When a lot of times when these YouTube videos have Yardley Smith on and they're like, "Hey, what do you think of these people doing impressions of your character?" A lot of the impressionists will pick this poem, and it's a damn shame that this poem will be harder to find because of the controversies we talked at the
It's
top of the
classic,
episode.
absolutely classic.
You got any thoughts on this lovely poem, Delvin?
I didn't hear you would say it. You cut off a bit. What you were saying?
Oh, sorry. So I did the poem, and I was wondering if you had any thoughts or memories of Lisa's poem about her cat named Snowball.
Oh, that was amazing. How many snowballs has she had, like in Simpson history?
At least 2. Because there's also an
There's
episode
more
later where she
later.
goes like to like 5 or 6, and they keep dying. Like she keeps getting new cats, and cats keep dying for one reason or another. But traditionally, they have Snowball 2 is the house pet for many years, and I do not know if that has changed in the more recent episodes.
I remember, wasn't it in a Halloween episode she was trying to get Snowball back, something like that?
Yes.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Exactly.
She tries to like
That's the one it
resurrect
was.
She tries to resurrect the pet, and I think that's when they accidentally resurrect the zombies.
Pet
instead.
Cemetery.
Yes.
If I'm not mistaken. Yeah. So then Homer goes to the last result, which is probably like bad. He probably should have just done this test himself. He goes to Bart. And,
Well, so real quick, Josh, before he asks him, they're watching America's Funniest Home Videos. It's like, here are the top contenders: man breaking hip, ah, dog on fire. Wolf, did anybody order a hot dog? Baby with a nail gun.
This sounds like Faces of Death.
Exactly. Aren't those hilarious?
Yeah, I can imagine the Bob Saget type doing the hot dog joke.
It was. They had a very close resemblance to Bob Saget on there, of course. We're big fans of Bob Saget on this show.
Oh yeah, Bob Saget's awesome.
Yeah. He's a funny guy. I also like how Homer tells Bart, he's like, no, Bart, it's okay. It's just like the time I had you vote for me. Remember the absentee ballot?
It doesn't matter.
I'm quite sure that joke could go over really well today.
Yeah. And also, this was pre-2000 Gore Bush, right, with the hanging chads and all that other kind of stuff. So
I saw on TV Homer had Bart vote for him. Still in the election.
Oh yeah. Trump and Vance are going to bring this up any day now. But and it's a good thing. I guess maybe it's a good thing that this episode's so hard to find. Otherwise, they would have known by now.
I saw
it
the
was
news.
A terrible show. Nobody watched it.
Homer Simpson had Bart vote for him.
Yeah, I don't know which Springfield they live in, but it's in America.
A written confession.
And
the form is great though. It's like, do you get overly angry sometime? He's like, I'm getting angry at you right now, you little bastard.
Yeah, and then I love the whole thing of like, does he wet his pants? Well, even the best of us have an accident every once in a while. And this is something that's going to be called back multiple times
Bart's
throughout the
just
episode.
checking yes to every insane thing on the form.
Yeah, which is probably not the best way to go about the take-home insanity test, is just answering yes on everything.
But
Uh,
it's funny because that's what a kid would do. Like a kid his age would
oh
do that
yeah,
because they don't know what the hell it
Yeah.
is. They're like, all right, let me just answer yes.
right.
Huh?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, Bart is not smart or academic in that regard. He has street smarts. He doesn't have like book smarts.
No.
And so, yeah, of course he's gonna like fudge the homework. I mean, when has he ever done a homework assignment right, except for that one episode where he had to write the history report to pass the 4th grade.
It's on the multiple
So
answer. You do C on every question. You bound to get some right.
yeah, like 25% something. Anyway, so Homer is back to work, and they take him away because of the answers on the test. And
He's
I love
like,
how
did I pass? He's like, no. Careful,
throw-
boys. He wet his pants.
yeah, careful, man. He wets his pants. It's hilarious. And I love how they throw Homer into an ambulance to take him to the insane asylum. Robin, what's the name of that insane asylum?
Oh crap! You know what? I don't have it written down. I forgot. It's something like the Asylum for Interesting People. You know, like they're interesting. Like all the normies are out there, but all the cool people are inside. These are the interesting ones. So, it's a little social commentary. All right, so I love the part, Josh, how they're admitting them. There's a very simple way that we determine if our inmates are insane, and they stamp his hand with an insane stamp, which is phenomenal.
Yeah, then the doctor goes, anyone who has this stamp is insane.
Pretty accurate. That's how that works.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I also
Stop
like
being insane. You still have the stamp, though, so...
Yeah. I also love the line where one of the guys is like, put him in the room with the big white guy. You think he's the little black guy.
That was a great line.
Yeah.
Because he meets Michael Jackson, his roommate at the asylum, who is this big hulking white guy, and he's intimidating when he first meets him.
Yeah, and they also have like music cues where it's kind of like, oh, we don't know how this is going to turn around. Kind of ominous sound as he's like walking up behind Homer. But then, he turns around and everything gets lightened up. And once you hear the voice of Michael Jackson, he kind of softens a bit. Homer does. And so does the scene in general. And the best part about this whole bit is Homer is clueless and has no idea who Michael Jackson is.
Yes.
He's like, you haven't heard of me? He's like, oh, sure.
Nope.
What's your name?
Yeah, he's like, Thriller, beat it, you beat it. There's all these like weird commentaries about it. And then they even have him do Billie Jean. And once again in the DVD commentary, that David Silverman was praising the animators that works under him and saying like, hey, like, guess what? We got a big fat white guy who's going to be doing Michael Jackson dances.
Dance
Get
moves,
to work.
Yeah.
And they did. It was pretty well
So
animated.
they also said that Michael did sing this part.
Yeah, they said it in the commentary, but I don't know if I believe that because I don't think Michael is stupid enough to go against a contract and risk that. Like, why would he do that? That doesn't make sense.
I bet nobody knew until the commentary came out.
Yeah, I mean, I guess. I don't know. It just seems like an unnecessary risk, especially when you already have the other guy.
Teaches Homer to moonwalk. I wonder how many of our listeners would know what the moonwalk is.
Oh, I would hope
sure a lot.
I would hope half, at least.
It's still pervasive. The moonwalk.
I also love it because my white ass has tried to done the moonwalk many times, and I cannot dance. I fit the stereotype so well. And when Homer kind of like pushes, he's like, "Okay, you just apply a little pressure and slide," and then Homer moves forward instead of going backwards. I'm like, "Yep, I can relate to that."
It's pretty accurate. That's how that works.
Yeah. Even in like socks on tile, I still can't moonwalk. It's so sad.
You've got to do it in loafers. Very important.
Oh, loafers. Okay.
That is a good point. Yeah. Loafers or socks.
And then we get an Itchy and Scratchy cartoon. What do you think of Itchy and Scratchy, Delvin?
They're great. They are the Simpsons version of Tom and Jerry, and I love them so much.
It's hilarious because it's, obviously started as a, playing on the violence of the cartoons and doing it to the nth degree. And it's hilarious, and I love that Bart's and Lisa's laugh always when it comes back. It's just like guttural, like ha ha ha.
Yeah, it's amazing too that they've said in other episodes where they can get away with so much more in an Itchy and Scratchy short than they can like in the regular show because it's just a cartoon cat and mouse.
Yes.
So it's a little weird how the censors are a little bit more lenient, even though the violence is extreme.
Because of Tom and Jerry. The Tom and Jerry effect. Tom and Jerry used to murder the heck out of each other.
Yeah,
Yeah, but Tom and
exactly.
Jerry didn't have the level of gore I think that Itchy and
Well,
Scratchy
that's a
has.
good point. Like the the Roadrunner cartoons, massively violent, but there was no blood.
Yeah, for example, in this one, Itchy sees a bomb and his tongue sticks out. The mouse I'm sorry, Scratchy sees the bomb. Itchy grabs his tongue, wraps it around a present, throws it back in his throat. Head blows off, comes back down on a pointy birthday hat, and that's the end of that basically.
Skewers
The impaling and the explosions and everything like that was pretty graphic, but also hilarious. And then Lisa points out that, hey, I bet Scratchy was really thankful for the gift moments before he died.
Hinting again that she wants a present from Bart.
Yeah,
it's a big theme in this.
Keeping the theme going for the episode.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then back at the asylum, we get One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest references. Did you ever see that movie, Delvin?
No, I've never seen that movie. No, actually, I have seen that movie.
Yeah.
Nurse Ratchet, Jack Nicholson, and all that other fun stuff.
I think I might have watched it for Gunning the Circuit Cow or something.
Oh,
but I have watched it. It's a very interesting movie.
Yeah. It's was that the one with Dr. Drew? Because I'm pretty sure he's the one who was the guest.
I don't remember. I know I've watched that. I watched that for a podcast. I don't remember which one I did, but I know I watched One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest for a podcast.
Certainly at the time, it was one of the massive movies of that, the last quarter century that won all of the awards and made people really sit up and take notice. So it was pervasive in popular culture.
Yes. Yeah, and so a lot of the establishing shots and look of the insane asylum that we have here is based off of One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. And then they sprinkle in some like other references like Hannibal Lecter in the background.
And they have Rain Man, who's he's like, this is an idiot savant. He can multiply any two numbers together. And Homer's like, what's 5 times 9? He's like, 45. He's like, wow.
That was great.
Yeah. They also have a chief who apparently hasn't been talked to forever. And Homer goes up and says hi
in the movie.
Yeah, and the chief says hi back, and the chief replies,
like, "Hello."
It's about time somebody reached out to me. And if you've seen the
movie,
oh
my gosh.
Chief is like famously silent, and then at the very end he throws the thing out the window and runs away.
Correct.
But yeah, so that was pretty funny that they just kind of split that joke on their head. And we also get a very fun visual gag that I missed on my first watching, where the phone has ready to dial numbers, speed dials, thank you, for like Donahue, Sarah Jesse Raphael, and other like 80s and early 90s talk shows. So I think it's kind of funny. Like I could just imagine like Delvin is at the insane asylum and he's like, I'm going to get on Sally Jesse Raphael. Here I go. Boop.
If it was Arsenio Hall, I tried.
There you go. Yeah. We got live from the insane asylum. You're on the air with Arsenio. Hey, what's up, man? That could be fun. And then so Homer wants to call home for help, but is also very embarrassed that he's in an insane asylum. And Jackson offers to call instead. And this is
one of the. He's like, tell them it's one of those places where fat women lose weight.
And then Bart answers. We get two jokes, Bart answering the phone, that I love. And I forgot both of these were in the episode. And the first one is, Joe's Crematorium, you kill him, we grill him. Here at Joe's Crematorium, we know some things are best done the old-fashioned way. That's why we have been using the same process for generations. Our unique blend of mesquite, oak, and mahogany. The slow and low burning process. And of course, the hand-cranked bone crusher machine that's been used since the very beginning. Joe's Crematorium. You kill 'em, we grill 'em. And I
It's
love
like,
that joke
hello.
when I would have to be at work and I'm answering internal lines and I know it's not somebody who's the client or somebody else who's important. I will answer the phone. Joe's Crematorium. You kill him, we grill him. And it's usually met with like a thing of silence. And I'm like, it's Josh. What do you want? And so like Bart, very much like Matt Groening, is not believing that it's Michael Jackson on the phone. And he goes, is Elvis there too? And Jackson replies, I don't know. It's a big building. I like that. I think it's a big building. I don't know. Very honest. So after some questioning, Bart is convinced that it's Jackson,
Well,
and
the
he goes
question
in.
is who were your last 4 dates to the
Yeah.
Grammys? And he's like, Elizabeth Taylor, Diana Ross, Emmanuel Lewis, and Bubbles.
Oh, I missed
So
the
at
Bubbles
the
joke.
time, I think that's the actual last 4 dates.
I think it
Oh, he
was.
took Bubbles to the award show?
Like, that's not a joke. The joke is that he actually took Elizabeth Taylor and then Diana Ross and then Emmanuel Lewis and then his chimpanzee Bubbles.
Wow. Yeah, I didn't know he took the chimp to the award show. That's news to me. That's weird.
Yeah, he was an odd guy.
Yeah, okay. And Bart goes in the full Michael Jackson mode. Like he's singing, he's dancing, he's having a good old time. He's moonwalking in. And he goes, hey,
Hey,
Mom,
Mom.
Dad's in a mental institution.
He's humming Beat It.
Yeah. And Marge is immediately distraught and she goes, oh my God, Mother was right. And then, Homer's trying to figure out a way to get out of the insane asylum. And a random Y guy goes, he's like, hey, forget it, Pally. There's only one way out of here. And it's not pretty. Dating a nurse.
It was like, dope. It's Nurse Ratchet.
So Marge is worried, Homer is scared, but Jackson tries to help out with a song, and Homer falls asleep and he starts muttering, pancakes, football, boobies.
But it's been the two of us need her no more.
Also
That's
a great song.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Sang it when he was like 9 years old. It was a hit song in a big movie called Ben.
I like how Jackson pulls out his little plushie of a monkey, and he goes, Bubbles, it's going to be a long night. Because you imagine having to sleep next to Homer where he's just muttering off things probably like until 6, 7 in the morning whenever they get up, right?
I liked how Marge was like, I told you kids you put your father in the crazy house.
Oh yeah, and then Bart was going like poorhouse. He was arguing with her. He's like, no, you said the poorhouse, not the crazy house. It's completely different.
Amazing.
So yeah, I also love how Marge goes like the good wife she is, goes to the place and says, you don't understand, he's normal, you just don't have to mention our boy Bart and he'll be totally chill. And then the doctor is like, oh my God, Bart's real?
Is it real?
See?
There's a quick group therapy scene, Josh.
Oh
right
yeah,
before
yeah,
that,
yeah.
where you have this classic character from What Flew Over the Cuckoo's, and he's agoraphobic. He's like, I couldn't go outside. Homer's like, was the door locked? And he's like, I just couldn't face it. Was it raining? I just couldn't get in the car. Were you out of gas? And he's like, no. Homer's like, psst, baby.
Yeah, that
He's not
that
good
was
in group
wild.
therapy.
No, not at all. It makes me wonder what we would say to the other people, if they really extended that bit, right?
I would watch that as a whole episode. I'm just saying.
Sure. Yeah, and then so the doctor goes, Mr. Simpson, after talking to your wife, we no longer believe you are a threat to you or others. And then Homer asks for that in writing.
He's like, can I have that in writing, please?
And I love how slowly he reads like the thing. It shows like how idiot
You
he is, right?
are
Like,
sane.
yeah. No, it goes a certificate, not insane. Huh. He gives like this little boyish at the end. That's pretty damn good.
Look at that.
And then we find out that Michael Jackson is there voluntarily, and Homer invites him over to the house.
And we get another Homer calling home to tell them that he's coming home. And we get another Joe's.
Oh, yeah. Well, before that, we get poor Lisa and Maggie alone at home while everyone else is out.
Oh,
and
that's
she's
so
wearing
sad.
happy birthday hats, and she sadly sings happy birthday to herself. And
was
my favorite,
Birthday to me.
happy birthday. overlooked middle child.
Delvin, are you
I don't
middle
know.
child?
I am the
Yes, I am.
oldest child.
I am very much. I'm the middle of 5,
Middle of
so I'm
5.
proud
Delvin,
of the
I didn't.
5 kid.
I spoke over you. What did you say?
I am, in fact, the middle child.
So do you all relate to this?
Yes.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, because I'm the favorite. Everything was coming up Josh when I was
To,
growing up.
to be fair, my mother was really dedicated, made cakes for us every birthday, and do stuff like that. So I was lucky.
Yeah, I mean, my parents are pretty good about at least doing something for everybody's birthday. I mean, even if it's just like a McDonald's party.
Yeah, that works.
Yeah, hey, some of those are a lot
Hell
more fun
yeah!
than the
I
others.
do
You
a
know?
McDonald's party now.
Yeah, especially when they had like playgrounds back in the day. It's good
Mm-hmm.
stuff. And you're right, Robin. We do get another Bard answering the phone, and this time it's Jill's Taxidermy. You snuff them, we stuff them.
Here at Jill's Taxidermy, we know some things are best done the old-fashioned way. That's why we have been using the same process for generations. Our unique poly-cotton blend stuffing, our antique Theodore Roosevelt tannery tools handed down father to son, and of course, the traditional skin mount method that's been used since the very beginning. Jill's Taxidermy. You snuff 'em, we stuff 'em.
And so Matt Reese and Al Jean were thinking about making this a running bit, like the prank phone calls that we have in the first couple seasons. But then in the commentary, Al says like, "Yeah, we tried, and it was too hard to come up with other stuff." And Robin and I were kind of doing this for our own like fake ad, this week. And we were wondering like, oh, how can we keep the you snuff them, we stuff them, you grill them, we kill them joke going? And it is very hard. So these Harvard grads and writers who are professionals in the industry, I feel for you, because I was like, well, you can come up with something else, can't you? And no, I can't.
No, cannot.
Yeah, it just doesn't.
Apparently, writing is very difficult.
Yeah, exactly.
The best
Yeah.
3 I came up with is Jimmy's Therapy. You crack 'em, we smack 'em. Lululemon. You strap 'em, we clap 'em. No, we strap 'em, you clap 'em. Yeah.
Close
Yeah.
enough.
Billy's
Yeah.
butt plugs. That was Josh's.
Yeah, Billy's butt plugs. Yeah, but I couldn't figure out
You
the
shove
ums.
it, you love it. We shove it, you love it.
I was also
Mongo's schlongo.
I was also thinking like Bob's glass blower. We glow him and blow him, you know. So anyway, Homer mentions that Michael is coming over and that he wants the fridge full of cold cuts and beer. And then Jackson goes, Homer, I'm a vegetarian and I don't drink. Homer side eyes Michael and goes, are you sure you're here voluntarily? And so Bart hangs up the phone and is told, like, do not tell a living soul. You cannot tell people that Michael Jackson is coming to the Simpsons house. And he immediately calls Milhouse and goes, can you keep a secret? No. And then you liked this next bit, didn't you, Robin, with the rumor mill that gets set off?
Well, it was the thing where they're talking about in the caption that they just reused like old shots of people on the phone in the commentary. They're like, we didn't write anything new for this. We just took all of our old images of characters being on the phone and just threw those in there.
I mean, there ain't nothing wrong with copy paste in my opinion.
Hell no, absolutely not.
Yeah.
Absolutely not. Especially animation.
They gather a massive crowd.
Yes.
In front of the house, which was at the time, I mean, par for the course. I mean, that man did not go anywhere where there was not a mob scene.
And I liked all the little outfits that people are wearing. They had like Michael Jackson, hoodies and sweaters and T-shirts, hats, albums. A lot of people are holding like Thriller albums.
Yes. I love Dr. Hoover's wearing the sweater, which was very
Cosby-esque,
specific to the time, which I just thought was great.
Yeah. Yeah. Have they removed all the Bill Cosby episodes yet? No.
Ooh,
anyway. And then Mayor Quimby is giving a speech. Now, Robin, did you pull this full speech? You said you wanted to go through it. If not, I could just give the summary.
No. I just like the last part where after they discover who it is that's actually coming home.
Oh, okay. Well, I like how Mayor Quimby is giving a speech, and he's like, "This is the most exciting thing that has happened to our town, or since the Dalai Lama showed up. And moving forward, the Dalai Lama Expressway will now be the Michael Jackson Expressway."
I just overwrites it.
And I like this idea of like every time a new celebrity is coming to town, they're just going to change the expressway name.
Mhm.
You know?
Because that's the move you do.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's the same expressway because it's a small town and they probably only have one.
Right, exactly.
So, of course, when they see the big fat white guy come out and it's not Michael Jackson, everybody gives the boo. Quibby
I like
storms off.
how Mo goes, he goes, he's white. And Mo goes, he's not dressed with flair.
Yeah, he's yeah. He's so big. And then, like, as the chaos is going, and everybody in the town is blaming Bart because he's the one who set off the rumor mill for this. And Lisa kind of goes, like, with all the hubbub, I just have to, I'm hesitant to ask about my birthday present. And then Bart is basically like, maybe you should trust that instinct.
Yeah, man.
Brutal. So
Because
cold.
he didn't get his sister who begged him and reminded him to get her present. And
Yeah.
she's heartbroken.
Yeah, so she is in pretty much sad mode until the very end of the episode. And then we cut to the next day, and Homer is frustrated, or like later that day, Homer is trying to scrub the insane stamp out of his hand. They must have used some quality ink, gentlemen, because...
He's like, come off. I'm sane now.
Yeah, I really kind of love that. Like, how long do you think that lasted on his hand? Like 2 weeks?
It's a great bit.
A year.
A year, yeah. He starts wearing a single
tattoo
glove.
Removal.
You can start wearing a single glove like Michael would do, right? Like he just wears it everywhere. So let's see here. Lisa is writing a note to Bart expressing her anger. This was pretty funny
she
stuff.
She says they're
about
no longer their brother and sister in name only there. That's big.
Yeah, she has some line about like, if a therapist says so, maybe in the future in a far distant family reunion, I will give you a hug. But that's only because my therapist told me to.
It's so sad. It's
very
such
dark.
a sad letter.
And Jackson overhears and goes to Bart and just like, hey, man, that was a dick move. That was a real dick move. And I'm here and I'm going to help you write a song to make it right. And they have a very nice...
I can't write a song. I'm only 10. He's like, when I was your age, I had 10 golden records.
Yeah.
Which is true.
And I love the line that he has too, where he's like, Michael Jackson could be somewhere in LA recording music right now, or he could be in your room right now offering to write a song for you for your sister's birthday. And I thought that was really sweet and well acted.
Yeah.
Like overall, Michael is a good actor in this. Like he delivers all his lines very well.
It's hilarious.
Yeah.
So playing himself. So
Bart says, like, go down to the piano. I'll put on a pot of coffee, and we get our first draft. And excuse my singing voice here, but I'll do my best. Lisa, her teeth are big and green. Lisa, she smells like gasoline. Lisa, da 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 Lisa, she's my sister. Her birthday, I missed her.
You have like a Freddie Mercury, voice trimmer. That's
I was trying to do it a little bit kind of like vaudevillian. But yeah, I don't know. It's also weird. It's easier for me to sing in like a fucking dumb, stupid, silly voice than it is in my natural voice.
Well, it's like those songs we all used to make up back then, which were like, on top of Mount Smoky, or
oh sure,
Pledge Allegiance to the Flag. Those jokes that we would make.
Well, for us it was he's Popeye the Sailor Man. He lives in a garbage can. He turned off the heater and blew off his wiener. He's Popeye the Sailor Man. There was another one where he turned on the gas and he blew off his ass. Obviously you can see the running bit that we were doing on the K-5 playgrounds in Reseda in the 80s.
We were creative back then. But I love it. I do love it. Is that he's like, we gotta really get something. Like, let's go look at your sister, see if that helps you come up with something meaningful. It switches to them just staring at her through the treehouse window.
Yeah, it's a little creepy.
Like, she looks sad, and she's like, "That's because you're looking at her." That's what he says to her. She's like, "Even if you weren't looking at me, I'd still be sad."
Yeah, and I like how they kind of show the creative process, right? Like what happens when you turn 8? Your training wheels come off. That boy you like, hee hee. I also love the line where Bart's like, you just did that to be commercial. And I thought that was cute.
Yeah.
So
He gives a
I
little
have
laugh.
written down
Recognition.
Lisa's birthday song. I don't know how we want to handle this. If this is something we want to all try to sing together, or some of us can just not sing. I don't know. What are you guys feeling? You feeling like giving out a tune?
Oh, let's sing it.
I'll try.
Okay.
See if I
So
can find
should
the
I?
lyrics.
I will put the lyrics in the chat for you, Delvin. Does that work for you?
That works.
All right.
What is awesome is right at the beginning, Bart counts it off, and then he like turns over a trash can, and starts playing the bongos, and immediately from that moment, like the bongo hits are fire that he's doing. It's like a good like da 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 da. Da. It's
Yeah, and
fantastic.
it's well animated too. They really like the beat of him actually hitting his hand goes with the music, which is nice. So that was really good. Delvin, I sent it in the chat. Does that come out clear enough? The formatting
Yeah,
is not
I used to remember how to
ideal.
sing this song very well, but it's been a long time.
Yeah,
I'll start us off. How about that? Lisa, it's your birthday. God blessed you this day. He gave me a gift of a little sister, and I'm proud of you today.
Lisa,
Lisa,
it's
it's
your
your
It's your
birthday.
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 Happy
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 birthday,
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 Lisa.
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 Lisa,
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 it's
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 your
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 birthday.
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 Happy
Happy
birthday,
birthday,
Lisa.
Lisa.
I
I
wish you
wish you
love and
love and
goodwill.
goodwill.
I
I
wish
wish
you
you
peace
peace
and
Peace
and
and
joy.
joy.
joy. I
I
wish
wish
you
you better
everything
than
your
your
heart
heart
desires
desires
and your
and your
first
first
kiss
kiss
from
from
a
a
boy.
boy.
Lisa,
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 it's
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 your
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 birthday.
birthday.
birthday. Happy
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 birthday,
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 Lisa.
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 Lisa,
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 it's
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 your
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 birthday.
birthday.
birthday. Happy
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 birthday,
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 Lisa.
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 Yeah.
I love that song
That,
so
that
much.
I'm gonna see how well that comes out in post. That's gonna be amazing.
Not yet.
I love it.
But I think that's kind of the charm. I
100%. Yes, we have had many successes of
And
that
before
format.
they played the song, I did like the circle back where it's 6 a.m. again, and this time
Hmm.
Bart is waking Lisa, and he does the same like nose holding thing. Is that something
Uh-huh.
that your siblings ever did to you, where they're
Oh
trying to
yeah,
wake you up and hold the
100%.
nose? That never happened to me.
Yeah, like
No,
you're
that's kind of
sleeping,
what
and
they
to
do.
wake you up, they seal your nose, and you can't breathe, and so you like
Yeah,
choke awake.
So they kill
I,
you.
yeah, I would have decked my brother if
It's
he
just
did
the
that to
threat
me.
of death that your body reacts to.
Yeah, and and now we have once, of course, Lisa loves the gift. Everything is now right in the
She's like,
world.
"This is the
Yeah.
greatest gift anybody's ever given me." It's such a sweet moment, and Josh, I love those sweet moments between the siblings and the
Right.
family
Well,
in
that's what
general.
makes this
But
episode great is
yeah,
like
Yeah.
that emotional conclusion because we see character growth. Bart went from being
yeah,
ignoring the sister to actually having some feelings and empathy, which is fantastic. And that's what makes these episodes extra special is when you see that personal development within the story.
I agree.
Uh, and we get the twist where it's not Michael Jackson; it's really Leon Kompowski, and I'm pretty sure Hank
he's
Azaria
like
was doing the
he's gone
voice.
through some catharsis,
Yeah.
and now his mental struggles are better.
I
Yeah.
also love the way he described it because he says Leon mentions he was angry until he started doing the Jackson voice, and then became a force of good on the earth.
And Michael Jackson, and he acted that together. It was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Well,
So Leon Kapowski, who we're talking about, it's instead of he gives up the voice, he's like, I'm Leon Kapowski. I'm a bricklayer from Patterson, New Jersey.
I appreciate that the message was kind of like him just like, hey, I want to do some good in this world. And him just kind of like, he was having mental health issues, put himself in a mental institution and decided, hey, I want to do good in the world. And him using Michael Jackson's voice to do that was a pretty cool element of it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Like he knew
agreed.
he wasn't Michael Jackson, but he saw the good it did with people, how it made people feel. So he's like, I'll
Yeah.
just keep doing it.
Well, it's also social commentary that somebody who wanted to do good is declared insane.
And I would argue actors do that all the time. They pretend to be someone they're not to convey a message, through popular entertainment. And it's a good message to say that, just because you're having mental issues doesn't mean you're a bad person.
Yeah.
But the pinnacle of the scene is when he goes, which of us is truly insane? And Homer goes, not me, I got this. And he looks at the dudes, not
I also
insane.
like how Homer was sleeping with a certificate while the song was
Yeah.
playing. I also, the final line too of the episode is Leon is leaving the house from Lisa is like, "You're a credit to dementia."
I love it. She's like, bye, you're a credit to dementia.
I
It's
really
so
love that.
funny.
Yeah.
And then we get Leon walking off into the sunset, and he's singing, Billie Jean is not my lover. She's just a girl who thinks that.
There you go. All right. Well, we've reached the end of the episode, so it's time for our final thoughts. Delvin, you're our guest. Why don't you go first?
I think this is an amazing episode. I think the way this episode just touches on everything from mental health to the way society is. Even that's the little things that you don't even notice. Like the
Mm-hmm.
whole thing about the pink shirt, and because of the pink shirt is
Mm-hmm.
what kind of leads us on this journey where, oh, Homer might be like insane, and he gets called off just for being different. Just going on that, the love of a brother and sister. There's so many different elements of this episode that really are really cool. Even if it wasn't a Michael Jackson themed episode, it'd be a really good episode of The Simpsons.
Nice. Robin, why don't you go next?
This is one of the great episodes. This is one that stood out extra in a series that at the time everybody knew every episode and talked about it all the time.
Yes.
And you know, I am not either clearing or damning MJ. That's really separate from the context that I saw it in. And I remember the joy I felt, and I still feel joy thinking of that episode and watching it. And I love Michael Jackson. And that doesn't mean that I don't believe the charges or not. If I love someone, then I accept their worst parts. It certainly shades your thoughts. But he brought me so much joy, and he still does listening to his songs. And I think that can coexist in the world, even
Yes.
with, you know, the horrors that he's been accused of committing.
Very nice. So, in my final thoughts, this episode was a big deal when it first aired in 1991. Michael Jackson was the biggest celebrity yet, and his collaboration with the show was robust. As we mentioned before, he wrote the original song, Lisa, It's Your Birthday, and helped with Do the Bartman music video. It's a shame Jim Brooks and Al Jean and others wanted to remove this chapter. It's more whitewashing of history. Also, there have been other controversial guests like Mel Gibson, Elon Musk, and their episodes have not been removed. As far as the episode itself, the Homer and the Insane Asylum jokes I thought were a bit old and it's held up, but after talking with you guys today, I actually didn't understand like the angles and the positivity associated with having mental conditions. So I think I've turned a leaf on that, and also the classic jokes of Lisa's poem, the joke Crematorium and Jill's Taxidermy, the whole Homer introduction to Michael thing are just amazing. And the emotional payoff of Bart giving a good present to Lisa at the end is
And the
chef's
song
kiss.
itself, I mean, the song
Is good.
itself is sat in the psyche of our society forever. Everybody knows that song. It's a beautiful
Yeah,
song.
so it's a heartwarming ending in a fabulous episode, and it's a damn shame this episode is so hard to find. And I hope as time goes on, it becomes easier and easier to find. So that's all I have to say on that. So good job, Delvin. Thank you for picking this. Robin, do you hear that sound?
What's that, Josh?
Well, then you know what time it is. It's the
Crusty Brand Seal of Approval.
Perfect.
Perfect.
Delvin, you're our guest, so why don't you go first? What is your score out of 1 to 5 for this episode?
I will give it a 5. One of my favorite
Very
Simpsons
good.
episodes. It reminds me of peak era Simpsons.
Hell yeah, it does. What about you, Robin?
Yeah, I also give this a 5. Those jokes are some of the most indelible jokes from the entire series, which is saying so much. And the song with Lisa at the end, how sweet it is, and the growth as you talked about their relationship and how endearing that is. 100% a seminal episode for this show.
Yeah, so as I hinted at with my final thoughts, I originally was going to give this a 4 out of 5 because I thought the Insane Asylum bits were a bit old. But again, I didn't take that angle that we talked about today, and you guys have changed my mind. So this is going to get 5s all around. 5 out of 5.
Woo!
Classic. Fabulous episode. Nice. Well, that's a wrap for Sacrilicious with Robin and Snurts. We hope you enjoyed this episode. If you're feeling generous, then please leave a 5-star review with a few sentences. We are currently on Spotify, YouTube, and Apple Podcasts. Here are my shout-outs for the week. The Platinum Princess herself, Haley Nicole Miller, a wonderful lady and co-host on the PlayStation Experience. I'm going to say rest in powers to James Earl Jones, who passed at the age of 93. It was a hell of a run, and his iconic voice will echo through the ages. My personal favorite roles were Darth Vader, Mufasa, and Thulsa Doom from Conan. I'm sure both you gentlemen are big fans of James Earl Jones, and we have so many people take him at an early age, and it's nice to see somebody who lived, north of 90 and has an amazing legacy. And this man will, although he's physically not here on this earth, he will remain in the zeitgeist, in our culture, for generations.
Absolutely.
And finally, of course, Dr. Moxford, the raddest
The
fan
doctor.
of all.
Mox.
Want to hear more from your old pal Snurts? Then check out the PlayStation Experience on your podcast platform of choice. I can also be found on most of the things at Lord_Snurts. Robin, what are your outros and plugs?
I'm going to give mine here to Delvin. Really appreciate you coming on this show today. Everybody should check out the Delvin Cox Experience. I've listened to a few episodes. I've been massively impressed, but none more so than when you had a guest on talking in depth about Project 2025.
Oh yeah.
And what I loved is that you heard this person going off and really getting into this and really describing it in a way that was very important. It's where I got most of my information about it, and you just let him talk. And he kept going, oh, I feel like I'm talking too much. And you were like, no, please keep going. And it was amazing, and I appreciate that.
Well, thank you.
The one other thing I want to tell you about is I just got a Nintendo 64.
Ooh,
that's awesome.
For the first time in years. I gave mine away years ago. I'd meant to keep it. I gave it to a friend who then gave it away to Goodwill. I was very upset. And
terrible friend.
I just got it. I got Bond, and I'm going to get a couple other ones. There's a game, though, that I played called Bottom of the Ninth. It's the greatest baseball game of all time. And I just had the most fun playing with it. I think you'd appreciate that.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. If you want to hear more Nintendo fun, you should listen to Nintendo Shack, which is one of the many podcasts that Delvin is also a part of.
Correct. What if I told you they still make N64 games?
No way.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, you have to look for them. It's a little bit less, but there are companies still making games for NES and SNES and N64.
No kidding. That's amazing.
Yeah.
All right, well, Delvin, what are your plugs?
Just check out the Delvin Cox Experience anywhere you get podcasts. Check out the Mortarverse, because I'm Green Lantern in the Mortarverse. Check out PSVT. I'm on a lot of stuff. Way too much to name. Also, check out Who It Win Show.
The behind the scenes too for the Delvin Cox Experience Patreon is well worth the $5. You guys provide really good content. I like the reviews with you and your son on the movies. I haven't listened to the Transformers one yet. So to help you plug away, man, you don't plug your Patreon enough, in my opinion. So Snurtsy will always be here to help out.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Nice. Well, anything else, gentlemen?
I think that's it.
That's it.
All right. Well, our goal is to get the next episode out on Sunday, October 13th. Robin picked Homer at bat from season 3. So until next time, folks, smell you later, true believers.
I can't believe that replaced goodbye. That was terrible.
That was not good.
There you go. Danger.
Fabulous.
Tranquility Base here. The Eagle has landed.